Did you hear the one about the Nazi in the New York Times? There was an article that ran in the Sunday Times. It was scheduled to go out in the Sunday print version of the Times. It was called A Voice of Hate in America's Heartland. It was written by Richard Fausset. It went up online before that. So before they actually got to print the article, there was a huge backlash online. And it was intended to be a portrait of, one of those portraits of a person who is a Nazi and he's living in Ohio and he's just the person next door. And it was supposed to, reveal some inner truth about how these people can live alongside us. And people had a problem with it. I tried to find one passage that really exemplified what folks found to be a little tone deaf. Here it is. He is the Nazi sympathizer next door, polite and low key at a time the old boundaries of accepted political activity can seem alarmingly in flux. Most Americans would be disgusted and baffled by his casually approving remarks about Hitler, disdain for democracy, and belief that the races are better off separate. But his tattoos are innocuous pop culture references. A slice of cherry pie adorns one arm, an homage to the TV show Twin Peaks. He says that he prefers to spread the gospel of white nationalism with satire. He is a big Seinfeld fan. So it is juxtaposing these descriptors of him with he's just a normal person. There was a satirical version of this article put up on The Atlantic that got a lot of traction. Now it's called Nazis Are Just Like You and Me Except They're Nazis, despite what you may have read in the New York Times. Here is the quote from that article, kind of satirically mimicking what you would read in the rest of the New York Times article. It says, "The Jews control all the money, and the world would be better off if they were dead," he says, petting the dog. "Who's a good boy? The question is rhetorical. I ask about the wallpaper." So did you read this article?
Yeah, so Brett, I'm a little conflicted on this one. So should he have spent more time explaining the neo-Nazi stuff instead of how he owns a cat, and that he likes sitcoms, etc.? Yes. On the other hand, it feels like the world is coming down on this reporter for writing what I think is still an interesting piece about how they live among us. And I think that that's a thing worth writing about. And I'll tell you my own experience. I went to go visit a friend in West Virginia who happens to be Jewish, and his wife is not, but he's living next door to a guy who had a swastika on his car as a bumper sticker. And I don't remember if he had a flag outside of his house that was a swastika, but it was right there, his next door neighbor, and that was scary as all hell because I grew up in places where, like New York, Miami, now LA, where there's plenty of Jews and Muslims and Christians and blacks and whites and Asians, etc., and we're multicultural. In West Virginia, that ain't the case, okay? And so when the guy puts up the Nazi flag next to you or the bumper sticker, I don't remember which one it was, honestly, and no one objects, that is frightening, man. You live next to that guy every day. So, but I didn't talk to my friend about this, but it is kind of fascinating that same Nazi guy thinks like Jerry Seinfeld, what a funny Jew from New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thinks of it in those terms. Kramer, he's nutty, I like him.
Right.
Yeah, so I think there's value in the piece. Is that crazy?
I get it. Here's Ezra Klein from Vox, right? The problem with the Times story isn't that it's about a modern day Nazi, it's that it doesn't offer any insight into modern day Nazis.
I think that's a fair point. I get it, but I'm sorry, finish.
But that's it, I get it. That's the, essentially he says you could compare that to how people said that Adolf Hitler loved music and he was into art, and I can't believe that he would, actually, you juxtapose those two things next to each other. He said also it's childish this late in human history to be surprised that evil people are also people, and it's not enough. I mean, my thing is the most disappointing thing about this New York Times piece is it reads like a clueless Vice piece. If it reads like, isn't it amazing he has a Seinfeld tattoo? And he watched Twin Peaks, which I've read is pretty hip. Like that's the problem with me. And I'm sure that if you look at this article online, it will tell you it immediately after the title and before the byline even, it'll say, there's been a lot of backlash, read what our editor said, read what the writer said. The editor said, quote, the point of the story was not to normalize anything, but to describe the degree to which hate and extremism have become far more normal in American life than many of us want to think. It doesn't do a lot of hand-holding in this. And the writer himself expressed frustration when he tried to ask those questions that he just never got a satisfying answer, but rather than focusing on the lack of a satisfying answer, chose to just paint this picture, which ends up coming off to most readers as, yeah, he seems pretty normal to me.
Yeah, but he did mention the loathsome opinions that he has. So in my last quasi-defense of the article, look, so if it's pedestrian to point out that Hitler was a vegetarian, are we not allowed to point it out? Okay, it's an interesting fact. I mean, it's not determinative of anything, but it's interesting in that he liked art and he liked musicals. So I wouldn't stop someone from pointing that out. And then finally, I had David Duca on TYT interviews, and just letting them speak is madness and crazy, but still shows you something. Like I thought he was gonna be more racist. He is actually way more anti-Semitic, and it is a picture of madness, that interview. So it's fascinating in that sense. And I'll leave it at that. If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.